Cybersecurity experts want you to secure your life online.
The FBI says millions of people had their personal information stolen this year in cyber attacks. And October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. In a Consumer First Alert, Tammy Elliott has tips to protect your personal information.
We live our lives online, so it's critical you practice good cyber hygiene, like brushing your teeth, something you have to do. A cybersecurity expert with UW Oshkosh has an important message for parents about posting favorite school pictures of your kids on social media.
And they can probably see what your children look like, the names of your kids, where they're going to school, how old they are. All of these things can be used in a social engineering attack, or God forbid something worse, against people.
The internet makes it easy for sexual predators or criminals to misrepresent who they are and their motives. Personal details you share could be used in a social engineering attack. That's where scammers impersonate a friend or company you do business with and try and trick you.
Really think about who's looking at this, why do they need to see it, and maybe some self-examination of why am I sharing it. And if we all share a little bit less of that stuff with people who don't know us, I think the better off we're all going to be.
Cybersecurity experts have these tips. Limit personal information. Don't post details like your schedule or routine that can make you or your family vulnerable. Also, review your privacy settings. Restrict access to only certain people. And use strong passwords. Here are some important password tips. America's Cyber Defense Agency now recommending passwords should be 16 characters. Use a different password for accounts. And turn on multi-factor authentication, especially for your email, social media, and financial accounts. The more you follow this advice, the harder you make it for someone to steal your data, money, and identity. Tammy Elliott, Action 2 News.